Welcome back, everyone, and thank you for joining me. And joining me here on the desk is Evan Rainday.
Whoa.
Good to have you here, bud. And another stripy shirt for us up here on the desk.
Yeah, I wanted to bring the stripe shirt kind of theme to the forefront.
Right.
We planned this. We worked hard for this. We had about 3 months in advance of just the shirt per day planning.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. This is planned.
We only started planning our broadcast about a week ago, though, so maybe we should do that differently next time. I don't know. We'll figure that out. Either way, though, things are going well.
We will figure that out, but what we do have coming here is Sour Team and Blazing Hussars facing off in game number 2. And two teams that were very strong and very high-paced, very aggressive, as we saw in the qualifiers.
Yeah, I mean, the earlier rounds of Sour Team were kind of a question mark for a lot of people because you see Sheepa and Perdeaux and Ninu, who are essentially 3/5 of the Virtus Pro roster. You're obviously missing Elven Path, you're missing their healer, but what the biggest kind of conversation to me around it all was how can these three take the experience that they've had, the experience that they've shown they can demonstrate successfully against the best teams in the world, and apply that with two new players in the scene. So Sour Team is just this interesting kind of chronicle of watching from Sheepa and Perdeaux before they were even playing in a league. They were just playing at the Founders Tournament in Jönköping, Sweden for the first time in D69. And now to see them here taking a step down, but also having the chance to go back up if things go well in the Paladins minor league and in their lives, I'm excited to watch them more. And
this is definitely a chance for them to start to prove that they can all mesh together well, as you just said. And you know, going through these minor league weeks, that's what a lot of these teams are looking for, at least off the bat, is really to find their footing, find how they all mesh together, find picks that they enjoy, find maps that they enjoy, and just sort of a coming-of-age week for a lot of these teams. And on the flip side, you have the Hussars. You know, Grafisi, an incredible player. You have Kamaker. You have Doodle, one of the big names on that side. So the Hussars have something to prove as well.
Yeah, I mean, Blazing Hussars is a great team, and with players, again, who have had that experience. Andrew Doodle, most notably in the PPL, of succeeding, of being more of a relative star, even though his team was very not successful. Let's put it that way. It's kind of like being the star of, you know, unfortunately, the LA Lakers have a pretty bad lineup in the NBA.
It's like LeBron James on the Lakers.
Yes, I didn't want to say that. Kind of hurts my heart here. But, you know, it's like, unfortunately, their team didn't perform, but he always had the talent. So exciting to see him at this level. He's been doing really well.
He has done very, very well, at least initially in the qualifiers. We saw big things out of him, but now that the teams are all matching up, we'll see how it all plays out. We are going to see the first map here for game number 1 and Splitstone Quarry. Now, we saw this in our last set as well, and it was a clean, I think it was a 4-1 sweep in our first set of the day. So another early Splitstone Quarry. You figure that the team who picks this out has some sort of plan. They know they can play this map well.
Are you excited to continue to see Splitstone Quarry first game for every set?
I am. It's no Frog Isle, but Splitstone Quarry is.
Yeah. I know your heart lights up when it's Frog Isle.
Oh, it's banned out. No.
Oh, man, yeah. This is going to be a rough death set now as we obviously see Dave's favorite map no longer available.
Hate to see it.
But I like Splitstone. I mean, obviously it does give you that variance, and I think in many ways it is a Frog Isle kind of approach where you can have snipers, you can have the EV, you can have things like that working out. And if it doesn't work out for you in the draft, you could be with no resources to actually turn this around. I mean, that's how polarizing of a map it actually is. So to look at these drafts and see how they come through with the banning phase just starting out, the Grover and the Pit, it tells me a lot. It tells me Sour Team are really aware that there's some interesting decisions being made on the side of Blazing Hussars, and they're comfortable with a lot.
And Torvald makes his way out, and that's not someone we've seen a whole lot of here. What kind of champion do you look for Sour Team to match with that Torvald?
Honestly, I think there's a lot of things you could pair it with. I think the more traditional approach we've seen in console and things like that would be the Koga, but I expect a Leon here. I personally think that Leon is going to be highly prioritized for Sour Team. I think it's something Perdeaux has already felt very comfortable on. And I think what they're doing is they're saying you're going to take Cassie Leon here, maybe. And so we'll let you have that, because then if you're not prioritizing, you know, that kind of straight, we can go for a blaster. We can go for something that might be able to beat you from range or have some high ground. So I think they're just patient with this.
The Furia does come out to match with that Ashmakoa. We saw some compositions built in the last set around that Furia, not necessarily paired with the Inara, but paired with some of the other tankier champions, and didn't work out very well for All Business there in the last set. But Looking to find maybe some more success here with the Furia onto the double tank setup are the Hussars, as Leon, as you said, coming out here for Sour Team and Zin rounding out their lineup.
And this is really because they wanted the flexibility of their damage dealers. That's really where things were going to come down to. The Leon, they felt that they weren't going to Cassie Leon. They could take some time on that one, but really they want to be able to say, as a last pick, let's already see most of your draft and see that we can anticipate your 5th damage dealer, which is the Bomb King, and feel good about our pick. And I think Zen can do that.
Well, both teams' picks and bans are in. Time to see how it plays out. We're going to send it over to the casters. Here's Nick and Gormizer.
So much, gentlemen. Ready to get into this one. Mr. Gormizer, at a first glance, though, whose draft are you putting your chips on?
I'm leaning a lot more over towards the combination of a Torvald and a Zen. I think even though Zen in this kind of area is not going to use and traverse, I guess, the high ground as easily, I feel like that's just a standard.
And he cries over spilt milk. I mean, that's just not a great attitude to have.
Well, actually, I'm wondering if maybe
Zarini was a mistake.
He can use that energy, right? He spills some milk. He's mad about it. Now he can channel that into the game and do better.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see here. Blazing Hussars, I have to say, outside of the Zen Torvald, I like everything else about Blazing Hussars draft. I think it just feels more rock solid to me. And unless Ninu pops off and wins the game, it's going to be a struggle for them. So far, Makoa is bulldozing his way up onto the high ground. He wants to get this first blood in.
And Tutu, I mean, he's aggressive. He loves getting, but it's going to be Andrew Doodle who finds the first blood. Tutu gets too low. Sheepa actually credit for that kill.
Quick trade.
Kind of trading him off, but I really like the way that Andrew Doodle's approaching this fight, which is really just gung-ho.
Yeah, getting a lot of healing. It's not going to be enough, though. Ninu manages to tip the scales back in the favor of Sour Team. Another beam will come through. Another Yomi slice will answer it. 57 for Blazing Hussars to the now 57 and climbing for Sour Team. Deep to the backline. Ninu is committing. Ninu wants to get these kills. Hits the billow. Takes his foot off the gas.
But he hits several of them, too. I mean, just being able to get that much damage down is setting him up. You're going to waste time healing. You can see Blazing Hussars having to spend a little bit more time, I think, off of the point than what they would like to. Kamaker doing whatever he can, trying to dance around. And a nice pluck, maybe going to be able to get some kills for Cassie, but it seems as though Sour Team are kind of recognizing what Blazing Hussars are trying to accomplish.
Their back is turned to Ninu right now, and similar to a large cat, that is a big mistake. Rafis manages to take him down, but losing 2 more in the process. Overtime has been started in favor of Sour Team. Perdo is still here. He's still relatively healthy, and he's still plugging away at this team fight. Sour Team will grab the first objective of the game.
And I think Blazing Hussars in this scenario have a much more standard composition. I want to say maybe a little easier to execute because it has 3 win conditions throughout all of it instead of having to rely mainly on Ninu, which is what Sour Team are doing. But Ninu is doing so well with the Torvald that it's kind of shutting down the presence Blazing Hussars should have.
And he almost got picked off his first blood. Ninu, you could see the glimmer of hope there, right? When he was not in this team fight, Blazing Hussars started to win it. The second he gets back, you can see the scales start to tip. He's an incredibly good guy, an incredibly good player, and incredibly good on this champion in particular. So a lot going for Ninu right now. Barely gets the kill with that spite there. Manages to trade out 2 for 1. Doodle now in a good spot to try and tee off on the rest of this fight. He's going to turn his sights onto Perdo. Nice movement here. Keeps himself alive for now, but Yoppie just basically drools on him as he comes around the corner with the venomous cobra there, and that's going to be that.
And the entire time, it didn't really matter for anything Blazing Hussars. Like, it was an impressive-looking fight. It was really good distraction-wise. The payload's been moving the whole time. 1 minute and 20 left, and they're around the last bend. It's probably the most difficult position that you could have it because that base just opens up high ground looking straight down onto the payload. But it does make it a little bit easier because it relieves some pressure from Sour Team. They don't have to worry about pushing it the entire time. They can wait till 20 seconds and then jump onto it and try and move it.
I'm seeing a very clear thread here. Anytime a hook is missed, you see Ninu start to move in. Every time a hook connects, Ninu starts to get very low and then has to back off. So a lot living or dying on this team fight by the Dredge Anchor, and that's not exactly surprising. Perfectly timed Ancient Rage just to grab the CC immunity there so Dread Serpent doesn't bother him. But I love that trade in favor of Sour Team, man. Dread Serpent is going to come up much quicker than Ancient Rage is.
And being able to continue pushing Makoa back, right? Tutu gets a little bit of zone for a big ult, and then immediately is half health again. Like, he's uncomfortable. He's not going to be feeling himself. Andrew Doodle gets taken down. Luckily, he gets rid of Perdo before, but, I mean, these are the kinds of trades that, admittedly, like you said, are going the way of Sour Team.
Is Zarini aware how this fight is going right now? I don't think he's aware that his team had pretty much lost that fight already. I don't know, man. That's a big commitment here. Dome Shield spent to keep Serini alive, healthy on the payload. He's going to get the overtime started. Peridot comes ripping back into the fight and maybe just breathes new life into it.
I mean, doing whatever they can. The heals are there. Zarini's still dancing around, and he's charging up his ult relatively quickly, being able to put down more shields. And, I mean, they're getting the kills. Peridot coming back has made the difference.
There it is. They don't give up on this one. Tags another one. Zarini. Oh, he's going to get this one, too. Nice silence up over the top, and it's enough to take down Kamaker. Doodle cannot bring it home. Wow. Sour team. And Zarini spearheading the charge. Make me eat my words, and they will push this payload all the way home.
And it is that awkward moment of this Dome Shield doesn't accomplish anything, but it doesn't detriment them. It does keep them kind of at a stalemate, right? It just keeps things even instead of forcing Sour Team to fall back the entire way. And I think that's where he's feeling comfortable. Obviously, 4-0-5 is doing well.
Look at this. Everybody doing their part here.
Maldamba, though.
4-0, 5-3, 4-3, 4-3, 4-0. It's the frontline support duo here between Zarini and Yopi. At 8-0, nice stuff from them all around. Doodle 5-6 for his squad, and I think he's got just about every kill on that squad. Items coming through as well, Gormizer.
And I'm kind of surprised to see the Wrecker focus on the side of Peridot specifically. I feel like it's useful, but I don't know if it's as useful as what a Cauterize would be able to apply. Blazing Hussars on the other side going into multiple Wreckers because they need to pop this bubble to deal with Ninu just like that.
Uh-oh, and this is a different story this time around. It's 2 picks not being answered for Blazing Hussars. They managed to get 1 to square it away. It's a 4-for-1 at the end of the day. Torvald, the only one who escapes alive. Comeback mechanic as well. Things looking grim here. Zoning on Splitstone, not the biggest deal, but I don't know. Do you see Sour Team making it back here and even having a chance for overtime?
I mean, Sheep is slow. Barrick can be slow, but if he uses a couple dashes, he should be able to touch down. But with comeback mechanic, I'm not even sure touching down is going to be enough. But a Dread Serpent and shots like that, it doesn't matter.
They just blew him up, and now up to the high ground. Ash is going to get the stun onto Peridot. One more shot from the flat cannon will do it, but it doesn't stop this from being a 4-for-1 back in favor of Sour Team this time around. They managed to turn it on its head. Nice spite for the final lockdown there onto Kamaker. And around we will go. Sour Team looks like they're in a good spot. Silence will prevent any contest from the Makoa as Toot Toot simply falls to the wayside, and Sour Team look like they are going on their offense once again.
Good spot, might be even underselling it, right? I mean, they are doing everything right. Everything they need going for them is happening. And I will say, having a 4,100 damage dealing Xin in the front line is definitely helping a lot. But Ninu has kind of been getting burnt down pretty quickly when he gets aggressive. Like, he's taking some side picks, but admittedly, I don't think he's having the biggest impact. I think it's just the way the team is approaching it. Peridot's hitting a lot of insane shots. Sheepa is making sure that those bubbles go not only onto the Xin, but also being applied to make sure Leon's damage can get amped. And spreading the love like that has kind of kept Blazing Hussars on their toes.
You know, I get annoyed dealing with a good Xin at base. I can't imagine how these poor human beings feel having to deal with Ninu's Xin with a Torvald bubbling it every 6 to 8 seconds. Very, very frustrating experience.
He already walks away with Billow, and then with Whirl, and then with Counter. Now he's got a bubble to make him twice as healthy.
It's tough stuff, man. It is definitely tough, and this is why we see Torvald all through the first set was just, he's in lockdown, man. He is quarantined as far away as he possibly can be from the rest of this draft. Nobody wants to deal with a lot of champions plus Torvald. You pair him with anything that's, you know, relatively high tier, and they become a big problem for you. Give him the move speed, giving him the bonus damage, giving him the health. I mean, what else could you possibly ask for, especially in a kit like Xin, who's kind of got it all going for him at base?
And, I mean, with everything going, I've actually seen a lot of people talking, like, what does Torvald bring to the table? It's like, he's not a solo frontline. That's the thing you have to ignore. He's a support. He's a support with a really big health bar because his job is literally doing the same thing that Maldamba's doing with his right click. It's just bubble, bubble, bubble. You can get some damage. You have a really good silence. He's very useful. But when you can apply that bubble, when you can make sure it goes in the right spot and stay alive long enough to do it, he makes the bigger difference. But unfortunately, Sheepa goes down there in the middle of the fight. And so all of that bonus damage, all that shielding just disappears.
30 seconds.
Bonus shielding going to start disappearing quicker as we get later and later into this game, as Record 2s and 3s start to come online for Blazing Hussars. Nina's going to have to be more careful about how he approaches these fights. Grafis is already at the Record 3 mark, so he's going to be virtually one-tapping these bubbles off of Ninu, and when the bubble breaks, not only do you obviously not have that extra health anymore, you lose all of the buffs associated with protection and the talents that Torvald has picked. Peridot and Ninu find a couple to kick off this overtime. A co-hook's going to land, but Tutu will not be able to grab the kill.
Peridot just is giving me a reminder as to why Eevee gets played a lot. Like, he's just hitting so many clean shots, and he's literally doing so much damage that it seems like Blazing Hussars don't have time to react to him by the time he hits them with the first shot, let alone the last one. So looking at the way things are going for him, another Dome Shield and a better spot this time around, this is looking really clean from Sour Team.
There it is. Zarini with another Dome Shield in basically the same spot. Ancient Rage is going to go ahead and take Torvald out of the game, and 3 other picks on the backside of this fight make it a 3-1. Blazing Hussars get their defense, and they will stay alive in game number 1, if not for a few more moments. And there's actually a really
Hyper
funny...
Beam. Okay, I was trying to, like, I was like, what pushed Andrew Doodle back? I was like, did he Poppy Bomb himself? And I'm like, no.
There's actually a really funny clip on Twitter right now. Prosper Logic posted it, and it's on Warder's Gate. It's Legacy's coming right up over the top. And just gets hit by the full burst combo from Lianya. The presence into the shot, into the grace, into the valor, and and Prosper just goes, GG, man, and then sprays, and Legacy's like, wait, what? Like, what? I didn't even get to play the game. Like, that's what Leon can do to you, man. If you hit that full kit, she can really blow you up really, really quickly. And for a character that's not necessarily known to be so bursty, this new talent style and the new way that she's being played is certainly making her lean more in that direction.
A lot of really good cooldowns,
out.
Really good dash, and really good shield from Sheepa as well. And that's friendship at its finest, right? Sheepa and Peridot putting it together to make sure that Peridot stays alive long enough. And they're being able to apply it, comeback mechanic there again for Blazing Hussars. But, I mean, the pressure's on. I don't trust the number. Like, even if they get up 70+%, Sour Team made a comeback from that last time.
Well, I mean, yeah, you have good reason not to trust that. I mean, they made a better comeback than this. They got wiped last time. Nobody died this time around, so I don't see why they can't put it together again. Counter, beautiful stuff from Ninu. He's going to hit the spite as well on the Toot. Silence coming out of it, and it's the triple kill from Ninu. Incredible performance. Quadra kill when it's all said and done. Mr. Zin. He was set out to carry this game with Torvald at his back, and I have to say, Gormazer, I do believe he did just that.
I mean, and they set it up perfectly for him. While the rest of the team was doing so much, Ninu has just been finding so much clean damage. A Quadra kill right there is easy take back for them. 90, they pass that 89%. A Hyper Beam comes through. You can't hang on.
Oh, no. So many people getting blown around the map. Kamikaze may have actually ended up in the fidget when it's all said and done. These tanks are melting like butter in the microwave here, and it's Ninu's Flaming Sword that is the culprit. The iframes from Furia's and Flame will not do enough to turn this one back around. Sour Team, an incredible performance from, a push that was converted, a push that was defended, getting wiped, coming back against comeback mechanic. They have shown us just about every scenario that could happen in a game of Paladins, and they have also shown us that they can win in every single scenario in Paladins. But that's going to do it for game number 1, guys. Let's get it back up to the desk and start breaking it down.
Thank you very much, guys. And Evan, I mean, we've seen so many 4-0s and 4-1s today, and Sour Team just continuing that trend. They just got on a roll and couldn't be stopped.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you have to look at, again, the history of this team, the fact that not only do they have 2 of the most decorated players alongside those lines of probably Bugsy and Elvin Path and Bird and Lazy and these guys, but you have Ninu, who is just a talent in himself, and that is what I love about this team. They've taken a guy who's relatively new to the scene as far as the PPL, and he's become a monster. He's blossomed, and his flexibility is what I find so fascinating too.
And certainly the post-game stats, building on what you just said about Ninu, you see him at 120,000 damage. Nobody in the game within 30,000 damage of him, but especially on the Hussars, you have nobody above 67,000 damage. So, I mean, that was just a damage, just total offset. And that's something I like to look at. It's not always something that really tells the tale, but having 2 characters at 100K plus and then not having any champions near that,
definitely,
I think makes a difference.
It's definitely the relative story that's more important. But, you know, the story for me today, and I'm sure in Game 1, has been Ninu on the Zen. This is what it made me a little, you know, uncomfortable seeing Bugsy on that guillotine Zen. Like, they had tried to do something new every single time, but, you know, what's tried and what's true is this Yomi plus the Torvald bubbles. Is it all Ninu? Absolutely not. Torvald, some great healing from Jopi, who was basically unkillable that entire game. All of that is going to contribute to this and plays like the quadra kill. But man, oh man, did he do the thing he was asked to do with the Flaming Sword today.
Certainly being the difference maker here in Game 1. And this is a question I like to ask to whoever's up here with me. Is that a pick and ban issue that you see for the Hussars here, or is that just totally being outclassed by somebody who's playing at the top of their game?
I think this is it's a little bit of both. I feel like they had the better end of the damage dealer draft, and that's why they kind of waited to see, what are you going for? Okay, you didn't take that. We have this. They waited for that last pick to really grab the Zen to make sure their composition would work for it. So I liked that patience. Now on the other side of the draft, going against Blazing Hussars map pick, I don't know if they'll be able to get as good of a situation going for them. But overall, I mean, they are a team that does well on Splitstone Quarry. I think that's why they picked it first.
And, you know, that's another storyline we've seen 2 out of 2 games here. Splitstone Quarry first,
that's
and
right.
then I think round 1 was a 4-1 or a 4-0, and 4-1 here. But we are going to jump into map number 2, see what the Blazing Hussars answer back with for their choice. Unfortunately, my Frog Isle being banned out, but Jaguar Falls coming out from the Blazing Hussars, and this is a pretty common map, and obviously one that the Hussars feel comfortable enough on to pick.
Yeah, and this is just a standard map. Let's go back to basics, one of the earlier maps. And so I'm hoping that Blazing Hussars can now find themselves in that advantaged position. One of the great things about Europe and teams in general, in Europe, they find ways to, even though they lost the game pretty hard once, they can turn it right around the next game. They're so smart in the way they maneuver drafts and Paladins that it is very common. You'll see one team get the upper hand, then the other team get the upper hand, and it'll be 2 4-0s. So we don't see that across North America as frequently. I think one team kind of has the juice or they don't. But in Europe, I would expect some strong drafts here and some strong showcase in Game 2 from Jaguar Falls.
And you can never count out a team, and we touched on this in the introductions of the rosters, but you have Doodle, one of the big names in the scene. That's not somebody that you can ever count out. But you do see the tanky bands coming out here. You see the Inara taken off the table, Torvald, Makoa to follow as well, and then the Grover to round things out.
Yeah, that was what made last game probably weird and why it was in such an advantage position for Sour Team. The Pip ban, maybe not what Blazing Hussars were expecting, and it also left Torvald open, and they weren't expecting Torvald to be open. So now that Torvald is banned, you have to take a look at the different landscape here. Barrack Cassie, very different than what they were setting up for. The Con Ash for Blazing Hussars, and in Europe, the way they play with these champions, typically very strong. Add that to a Bomb King. Sour Team have to go for something here that's going to give them the edge. I don't know if it's Leon on this map.
Spirits feast on
There's a Maldamba.
I think the Zen's still strong.
Maldamba answering back, getting their healer onto the board in the Ruckus.
Okay.
Do you like the Ruckus pick? I know you're looking for something.
No, I do. I think this is the right way to go. Barrack and Ruckus are a pretty good pair of offense. They can hold. Barrack's so much more sustainable than you think because he buys time, and the Maldamba can give him that healing, that movement speed to get out. But the Ruckus is a tertiary damage dealer when you need him to be, and that's what I like about it. A lot of flexibility on this lineup.
So Shaolin and Ying rounding out the Hussars lineup. So going for a less traditional snipery type champion in the Shaolin, hovering the Drogos for Sour Team, and you know that's something I'm sure Ninu feels comfortable on, or Sheepa or Perdue. I'm sure any of those 3 guys would feel fine playing on him, and it is going to come out here. So a couple less than standard picks to round out the lineups here.
Yeah, no, this is something I would have actually expected from Europe and Simsaloo in the previous set when they went to Jaguar Falls. This Drogos can work really well. This is most likely going to be Ninu. I expect Sheepa. He'll either flex on the Ruckus or the Barrack, and of course we'll have Perdue most likely on this Cassie. Should be a good game here.
Definitely will be a great game here, but to tell us how it's going to go down, we're going to send it over to our casters. Here's Pretty Hair and Gormizer.
Many ways that can go. My favorite little sitar jam. Gonna get us warmed up here and ready to rock on Jag Falls. Loving what I saw in game number 1 from Sour Team. They've got a completely different kind of style set up and win conditions all across the board for themselves. Doodle playing the same type of champion. We're going to see another Shaolin. We saw Simsaloo play this actually here. My hypothesis is that there's a lot of walls to stun people off of, I guess. I mean, that's kind of Shaolin's thing.
I need to see what's going on in these EU scrims that is making Shaolin like, okay, you know what? Let's pick him up. Because like it's twice now that it's on this map, twice now also paired with a Bomb King. And I'm just wondering if you just get into the groove, does he hit this next level? Because his damage is still really good. It's just he's not as survivable as he used to.
I mean, I'd be down for a Shaolin comeback personally. He got a big nerf to Desert Shadow, and then they reworked his ultimate, quote unquote rework, but it was honestly just a gigantic nerf to Heat Haze. I mean, the amount of playmaking you could do back in the day with the old Heat Haze versus what you've got now is just so much easier to track down Shaolin in his stealth. Which is just the way the game's going to move, right? Stealth is one of the more frustrating mechanics for people to deal with in Paladins, so Shaolin, of course, leveraging that mechanic heavy, has to be, you know, balanced on a razor's edge at times. Now getting flanked out by Ruckus. Serini tracks him down for first blood.
I'm surprised to see Ninu go down as well. Ninu, I mean, has made a name for himself on this Drogoz. That's where he pretty much started out. And it's going to be Sour Team, even though they lose the 1, taking down 3 and taking control of the point. To the point where Khan Tutu, he's going to get
back there, brother.
The shield
Come on
comes
now.
up. I mean, is he going to be able to get out of this alive?
You're a big fella. You can't be balancing on a little ledge out there like that, Khan. Now take it easy now. Come on back. You got so much to live for, and unfortunately, he will not be living this time around. 60-60 on the objective, though. Dead even. Sour Team back in the driver's seat. Perdo launches Ziggs and gives his entire squad vision of the battlefield and where everyone will be approaching from. Blazing Hussars out ready to go on this Hexafire as well. Zarini's been off to the races on Ruckus.
I mean, being able to set themselves up, that should give them, at least with ult control, a lot of control over the point. But he's going to have to cancel it out. Takes a lot of damage in the process.
Ying's
dashes right
bop him. She takes him down, and though it is overtime for Sour Team, Blazing Hussars certainly have themselves supplanted onto the objective for the time being, and just like that, it might flip back the other way. Dread Serpent comes out onto the objective, but Khan is feared around a corner into safety. 2 bombs stuck to Barrack. He mitigates most of that with a nice bowling ball shield. Angedudo falling lower. Ying is going to turn that right around, and many people being squashed and squished and pinched and popped in this small little room here. And Sheepa just says, everybody calm down. I'm dropping a dome shield. Shut up. Let me live, brother. I'm fighting for my life out here. Ninu rips around the corner with a dragon punch. And this is not an R. Kelly interview. This is the first point fight on Jaguar Falls, dragging out to the 3-minute and 30-second mark. Our first wave of ultimates has already been used, Gormizer, but our second is starting to come up, and Sour Team will quiet it all down and grab the payload.
And they used everything in the arsenal for that. They pop the Hexafire, it doesn't find much. They pop the Dome Shield and have an Ash ult thrown right back in his face. Like, that was one kind of post-ults. That was one with everything that happened right after the fact. And it's also, I'm going to say, Ninu on this Drogoz being able to find a good kill onto the Khan, then follow up that damage, and not quite get poked out by this Bomb King, by the Shaolin that so far, while they've had a really good showing, I would say, especially for the Shaolin, considering I still feel like the matchup's still a little weak overall in his favor, it's looking good.
Yeah, and there's not exactly anyone that's taking Drogoz out of the sky per se.
No.
I'm wondering who it is that's shutting him down hardest. Especially with Wormjets being the kind of go-to nowadays, it's a little bit harder to hit the guy, and unless it's Khan gunning him out of the sky. And another thing I want to talk about is this this ammo card I've been seeing on the up and up here for Doodle. He's been running 2 extra bombs in his clip as well, and not as if Bomb King needed more damage in a clip, but he's certainly brought extra guns to the battlefield.
Well, it definitely, I want to say, helps counterbalance Royal Decree, right? So increasing your reload speed 20% after you use Detonate is great. Now you have 2 extra bombs worth of damage, and with a frontline specifically, normally 3 bombs, 4 bombs max for a DPS, any of the squishier targets in Paladins, that'll kill them off. For a frontline, sometimes 6 doesn't feel like enough, especially if they're getting healed. This is a perfect amount. 8 plus the reload speed usually will get you a kill every single time.
Yeah, and that's assuming you hit all of them as well.
Oh yeah, you have to hit them all.
This gives you some margin for error to miss a couple shots every once in a while. It's definitely a slept-on thing, right? Andro's new talent, right, to have 3 extra ammo. It feels so good when you really think about it. Man, I can miss a couple shots now, still 1 clip some idiots. I like this. I like this little ammo vibe. that we've got going on here for the King. He's going to be kind of teeing off on the Bomb King. Does he know how low Peridot is? It seems like he does. Doodle rotates around. He will confirm the kill. 14 on the clock. But I do not see Sour Team getting their feet back under them before the clock strikes midnight in this first round.
Doing whatever he can. Actually finding some good hits onto Drogoz, which is probably one of the more difficult things to do as a Bomb King. Just having to be able to read that arc. No one going to be able to touch in time. I think Zerini was going in, but it just was caught off guard. Get grabbed by a Khan, held on the side, not much you can do. So Khan making a saving play at the end of the day, but not quite so much there.
I like the way he just like sad boy collapsed, ragdolled into himself. Zerini with a nice couple of kills. Not even all that he did in that fight. He honestly, I believe, picked up first blood on the Grafis as well. So playing a nice little flank ruckus type of thing, running full damage reduction, full cooldown. Not very surprising loadout here, but does remain the fact that he is the only positive player on his squad at the moment. 6 and 5. Ninu sitting somewhere around the middle of the pack. Honestly, Drogoz and Bomb King, two of the strongest kind of damage dealers on this map in particular. Those two need to kick it up a notch in my book.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, I mean, back in the day, it's obviously a very different meta. Season 2, combustible. Drogoz was win or lose top damage on Jaguar Falls pretty much all the time.
Almost, yeah, no, every single game. If Drogoz was in it, the only person who would consistently beat him is Cassie. And Cassie, unfortunately for Peridot, goes down almost immediately. There's going to be a great King Bomb being able to find some good stuns. And, I mean, that's exactly what you need at the beginning of a game.
He comes right up and around. Zerini unable to get the kill. The healing still too much in round 2. The Cauterize is not enough anti-heal to slow down Ying, and now it will be 33% as Blazing Hussars get themselves the victory in this first fight. Will claim their prize in the objective. Toot not sure he wants to push this one, but he's going to have no choice as Dread Serpent will force him out of the choke point into an early grave.
This kind of feels like Andrew Doodle versus Sour Team, honestly, the way things are going. And that's going to be a great punch mid-air. The damage is going to be good. They're all locked up in a corridor. You can find it. You can get it.
Sheep hits a nice one as well as Doodle tries to Poppy Bomb away. And again, it's the whole package. Everyone is making great plays. That is an incredible Dread Serpent to kick it off. The Dragon Punch that catches Ash mid-ultimate. Sheepa hits a big shot onto Doodle, doesn't let him get away. Ash still has her ultimate up because she got clipped, but is unable to get close enough. That's another wasted ultimate. Had to try and do it. Had to keep herself in the game there, but it doesn't end up paying the dividends that Kamikaze was hoping for.
And one of the big downsides, there's actually an overpower used by the Khan there to specifically try and get rid of the Cassie or the Drogoz. Like, it doesn't really matter who he's going for, but he just off target with it, did reset him to 30%. So again, another like confirmable kill. Easy to pick up, easy to keep you potentially in this game because you get rid of so much damage on the other side, and it just misses.
And it just whiffs. And not even the wind is around to see it. 155, Salvo comes out onto Ash. She's going to eat the larger side of it. Fire Spit connects onto 2 plus a Ying clone as well as the kill feed fills up red after red after red. And unfortunately, Madam Ying looks like she will be tracked down in the backline as well, though she does give a couple of nice wiggles to keep Ninu guessing. She will just sort of fall off the map there when it's all said and done. Nice stagger there just to keep this payload rolling. They got to kind of get it going. About a minute 30 left on the clock here, so already a full minute burned by Blazing Hussars without much progress to show for it.
Yeah, and definitely a good thing to get at the very beginning of the round. When you're holding on that last corner and you try to burn down a minute, that's probably the roughest part. When you get right here where you have a little bit of high ground, you have a lot of control, potentially a little bit of a Dragon Punch coming at you, but you can still hold on to it. Unfortunately, it seems to take just too much damage. They don't know where to put it.
There it is. 60 seconds on the clock there, 2 for 1 so far. Ninu, or Surret, excuse me, pops into his Heat Haze. Trying to navigate his way around this fight, but he's just going to go down. Grafis not going to get it done this time around, and that goes back to that Heat Haze nerf, right? He's so much easier to track down. He knows he's invisible, but the second he shoots, everyone's going to know exactly where he's at. Hexafire takes about half of Khan's HP, about half of his shield's HP, but ultimately doesn't get a ton done. Maybe the zoning ends up being enough.
Yeah, not quite. I mean, they do whatever they can. They walk back on the side of Blazing Hussars just to try and hide from a Hexafire. They're in a position to dash right back onto that payload. This is the thing that is like, it's just a little confusing to me because it seems like they were maybe even a little bit too scared of the Hexafire. Kamikaze, Toot, no one around to defend it, and it just kind of at a lackluster end of a round just rolls in.
Honestly, Sheepa having a big game for himself. 75K on the Barracks, 6-3. In that highlight, though, it wasn't really about Sheepa. You see the great Dome Shield come out, and then you also see him pop his rocket boots just to apply the bowling ball shield on top of it. And he only ends up taking, I don't know, 500-600 damage maybe from that King Bomb when it's all said and done. So he does a really good job mitigating the initiation from Doodle. His Dome Shields have been really on point. They've all gotten full value. He hasn't been killed under them at any point in this game. So, I mean, when you're having a front line kind of lock it down, bringing great control, but also great damage and getting a lot of kills, Sheepa is certainly on Barrack, giving you the full package. And you know, coming from me, that means something.
Yeah, no, actually, a compliment on Barrack is hard to get when you are Nick. Give, I guess, when you're Nick.
To give or to get.
It's
that
easy
is the
to,
question.
well, it's hard to get because you never would play him, because why would you? You're top gamer.
Big gamer, big
You don't need those turrets.
Here. A lot of stuff happening on screen at the moment. Ninu finds 2. And look who's back in the kill feed. It's Sheepa taking down an enemy front line. Fire Spit's going to be good onto Grafis. Dread Serpent off the map. Let it happen. Oh, Peridot takes away the kill. Though Toot Toot would have just walked off to his death. But not of his own will, not of his own volition. And a Dragon Punch soaring up over the top. Sour Team with plenty of resources there when it all came down to the home stretch. They were very, very in control of that final round. Pretty in control overall of that game. Solid stuff across the board.
And Ninu bringing out the Drogos, which we haven't actually gotten to see in a couple weeks, I would say.
No, it's been a while.
Being able to go for this Worm Jets float in the sky, there's no one really to take him down. He did go for a morale boost as well, so he's getting his ult up often. Like, he was the perfect utility that his team needed.
Well, 2 quick W's now for Sour Team. Let's get it back over to the desk and see if they can close 3 in a row.
Well, thanks, guys. And definitely 2 quick W's in a row. And Sour Team really firing on all cylinders. The Drogos working out for him in this game just seems unstoppable at the moment.
You know, Ninu is one of those players. That's what I'm saying. He's special. We got to watch out for him as he continues in the PML and continues in the Paladin scene in general. He's been phenomenal on Drogos, but it's not just that. It's Willows. It's Zens. I mean, it's even Cassie's he's able to flex on. Haven't seen a lot of his Leon. I will say that's something Peridot seems to be taking, but I would love to continue to see his growth, and that's what Sour Team have seemed to be doing. They're putting him in a good position to shine. The thing about Zarini and Jopi, they're great players, but they're not expecting the shine on this team.
Sure.
And so it really gives a guy like Ninu the ability to be like, yeah, man, you take the champion you want. All we need to worry about is Peridot. Sheepa will fill as usual.
And, you know, the slash lines are kind of tough to look at right now, and, you know, everything seems to be going Sour Team's way, and it's easy when you have a guy like Peridot doing as big things as he is, and you see him here again on the Cassie. He's doing a great job. 4.3 KDA, 95,000 damage. That's going to be hard to beat.
Such a comfort pick. And in EU and for Peridot, I mean, one of the older players in the game. So Cassie being one of the first champions, I mean, this guy just has an advantage over everyone. He just had more time on Cassie to perfect the mechanics, to get in rhythm. It's one of the things you'll notice. Every player that comes from that old days has a dangerous Androxus and they have a dangerous Cassie. And, you know, even if they're a front line, you put them on an Androxus or a Cassie, they know what they're doing, because those were the 2 hyper carries back when Paladins started. So really awesome to see that working out so well. And I'm loving the change-up of some of these impulse styles to the big game styles, the Megaton. It's really fun to see the differences, the small tweaks that Cassie players are making.
And I think something to note there as well, and we saw it a little bit in those highlights, is not only is he using that tumble to get in good offensive position, he's utilizing it so well. And there, I think, was an Ashe ultimate in that game where he was able to dash away from a Damba ultimate coming out, where he's utilizing it not just to be aggressive, but also knowing when he needs to reposition himself in order to stay alive and continue the team fight onward to draw things out.
You're so right, and that's where a lot of beginner players might think Cassie's dodge roll is for just to get away or to mirror position. So many of these pros use it so aggressively all the time that's if you watch it, you say, okay, no, that's what it's for. But no, it's for both. You really have to bring a nuanced play style to Cassie. She's super simple, which is what makes the player make that champion so successful, which is great to see how different pros really go at it.
Definitely. Well, map number 2 goes Sour Team's way again. Blazing Hussars are going to get the 3rd pick here, and it is going to be Stone Keep. So back-to-back 4-1s prompts the Stone Keep to come out for them. Do you like seeing that?
I do for Sour Team. I mean, these clearly, whether you choose a map that they chose or whether it's Blazing Hussars, Sour Team seem to be above and beyond. It's 4-1. It's 8 points to 2. Stonekeep is also a map we see Purdue, Sheepa, and this team do really well on. You can have a Drogos. You can have the Willow. If EU is playing a lot of Willow right now, you could see that come through as well.
And you have to look at what's been successful against you here, and you don't see, at least initially, any change on the picks and bans.
Right.
But you only get 2 bans to really make a difference, and with the Ashe, the Khan, the Torvald being such high priority bans, you almost have to look towards that first pick to take something away from Sour Team here. So maybe something changes up here for the Hussars, because whatever they've picked just hasn't worked out for them so far.
I think it's clearly more than just that, Dave, because Hussars right now haven't found a rhythm at all, and they've had a couple different looks with their lineup. So I don't know if it's Sour Team playing this great chess move. It could just be Sour Team playing at a level above. We saw that a little bit earlier with All Business and Confiest.
Very true.
Confiest were just kind of a level above. I mean, All Business were doing stuff that worked for them the week before, but Confiest just looked awesome.
And that's something I remember we touched on at the beginning of the day today and before this set, where a lot of these teams are trying to find their footing. They're trying to find their identity in a way, and maybe a little growing pains coming here out of the Hussars. We did see them do super well in the qualifying action, but needing a little bit of an extra push to get going here. You see Inara, Barrett, Cassie starting things off for Sour Team. They found great success with that Cassie so far, so electing to go back to her again.
Well, as you could tell, I mean, if it's 2019, identity is a very fluid thing.
That's true.
And speaking from experience too, going from you could be the soccer guy, you could be the esports guy, you could be the speaker guy. These teams also have to figure out, are we that crazy team that does new things? Are we the team that tried and true, and we know exactly what we're doing each matchup? Virtus Pro, you can expect it. Are we a little bit of both? Identities do change within the scene, and that's the most important thing. Sour Team, I know what they're about. Blazing Stars have to show me something this game.
Definitely, and you see a pretty traditional lineup outside of the Pip. The Pip is sort of a in and out of lineups type of champion, so an interesting Pip pickup. It worked out well earlier on in this set, so looking to make it work out well for them again here, but we got to see how it plays out. So Nick, Gormizer, on to you guys.
Well, let's see how we get down here on Stonekeep. I like the Pip adjustment. I think it's time to make an adjustment if you're Blazing Hussars. You can kind of go with what you want to go with, or go with what you know, so to speak, in the first 2. But when you get kind of smacked around 2 games in a row, you got to say, all right, we got to switch something up. Something's got to change here, boys. What's it going to be? Early Grover Pip picks for Doodle. I love Doodle on the Bomb King and the Pip. Those are like his 2 picks that I think he kind of can take over the game with, and he's got to be one of those superstars for this Blazing Hussars roster, and he's got to be the guy to take over the game. I think Evil Moj is a great answer to Zen. It's a great answer to Inara as well. 2 characters that can be very pesky to take down otherwise.
And the healing to boot is just going to make it a lot easier, along with a Grover to keep everyone going, but it's not going to matter. Ninu's the one in the back line finding the first blood and still getting out.
Dun, 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 dun. Secret Agent Ninu infiltrates the backline. Not going to play around for 3 minutes and 30 seconds this time. They're winning this fight and
they're winning it now.
Instantly, basically. I mean, it's 1 minute 20 on the clock. We've got 40 seconds of pre-game time that gets us there. Then we've got 10 seconds of riding up to the objective. So basically an insta-give from Ninu. And this is something I wanted to talk about. When he played for Virtus Pro, he had to play so much Xin by himself. He didn't have a Torvald pocket him. Homie barely had heals. I'm surprised he wasn't out here running Smolder and Veteran like I have to do in my casual games with Zen. He is so good at operating by himself with absolutely no support from anyone else. And in a team game, when you don't have to be looked after, you become such a valuable asset. Another lockdown with the spite there. Ninu has been on fire. Incredible Zen stuff from him all day.
And being able to get out of a scenario like that is a one hit, I can die here if I just misplace slightly. Counters the axe and immediately dashes away. That is exactly what keeps him alive, what keeps him going. And it's that comfort that you had mentioned. Having on Zen is making it a lot easier. 99% now for Sour Team. And I mean, they're still in the driver's seat.
And it's that, I think it's Sheep up there on the high ground with Barrick as well. He's just saying, I'm playing up here now. This is your life now. You're getting pushed by Barrick. Get W-keyed, idiot. And now it's going to be a payload for Sour Team as they continue to rock and roll. And Sheepa, has had one of the more memorable performances on Barrack, because he is just getting aggressive. He's getting in people's face. He's getting kills, getting good dome shields, and quick dome shields off at that.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of ultimate charge because of the damage that he's able to do.
And being able to hold the angles he is, because they have a little bit of leniency more for the Barrack, like, he does a lot of damage. The reason you would see him do so much in certain games is because he's in that front line. He's almost always fighting another front line, but if you put him up in that area to box away up hip, to box a Leon, he's going to get the job done. He's going to be able to come up, put some shielding down, keep Nino alive, even though he can't save Perdot. And, like, it's this kind of play style, because he has an Inara, that is just making it so clean for the team.
Ninu goes down to Fernando as well, though. 2-2 gets 2 critical kills there. It did cost an ultimate out of Blazing Hussars. Their Grover ultimate, it's not a big deal, though. These support ultimates can charge up very, very quickly. As you'll notice, Grover is already back up over a corner. Nice little Dread Serpent there just to keep things going. However, they are being moved in on the retreat, though, from Blazing Hussars. That's where things get ugly, because now they've overextended, and now they've just turned their backs to the big cat, to the Huntress, and her crossbow here. Sour team locking down a couple more.
And just being able to find that, again, using a support ultimate mainly to just drop the shield of Fernando. It's only to get a kill there, but because it charges relatively quickly, it's not that big a deal to drop it. There's going to be the Immortal, and they keep him almost immediately at that threshold. They're going to be able to get that and a Hexafire out of this. There's still 45 seconds left in the round.
And a Dome Shield up over the top. That's damage that is going to count on 2-2's health bar. Sheepa's going down here, down for the count. 2 for 1 so far. Ninu evens up the score, 2-2, 3-2 now. Yuppie finds Doodle, but Surets will make it a 3 for 3. Boxing out here. One team has a support and healing, the other does not. And the team with Grover online will stay alive.
This is one of those defensive rounds where if you get the defense, you have to ask if it was worth it. Right now, so far, I'm going to say yes, even though you're down 2 of your bigger ults. You get the Whirlwind back, you still have an Evil Mojo. As long as you can hold on to those 2, I think you're in a good spot. But you still have enough time as Sour Team to be able to come back in and make a big difference.
3, 2, 1 goes the clock as we now strike 0. Spike comes out to rip Fernando's shield away, but he gets blown up. Kamiker, Doodle, and the boys combine to explode Ninu. And this team fight feels like it's going to die with him. Doodle makes a nice move to the support in the back line, cleans up all of the healing left online as the kill feed continues to fill up blue. And on the topic of ultimates, just in general, every ultimate from Blazing Hussars feels like it is going to be very impactful. Whereas you look at Spite, though Ninu has done a good job, there is what just happened there. It can fall flat on its face. Nino can just get exploded and get no value for his ultimate. And sometimes that's going to happen. You know, Scout is what Scout is. It's vision. But outside of that, even if Blazing Hussars are down to ultimates, I would still say they're pretty much even, right? You know, I would 3 big impactful team fight ultimates when even if Sour Team have all 5 of theirs up and available.
I mean, for a long time we called Spite kind of the worst ult in the game because it doesn't get you as much as other ults come down to it, because you lock yourself into one place. It's very easy to get you, and unless you're running Guillotine, it's not going to be a kill half the time. You're going to have to play very carefully. So Ninu, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future that either is locked down for his team or potentially just get away.
That's a big Dread Serpent there, fearing a couple of people off of the high ground. But frankly, it fears Kamiker closer to where he wanted to be, right in Perdot's face. Ninu misses his big swing here, and this is a messy, messy team fight from Sour Team. They get nothing out of this. And all they did was ult. I mean, all they used was the Dread Serpent there. Blazing Hussars barely used anything.
Everything that Sour Team had going for them, literally immediately lost when they lost Inara at the beginning of that fight. Now they're in this awkward position here, about to have Hexafire and Immortal charged back up. If this keeps going their way, the way 2-2's going to get damaged, he's going to be able to charge that in this boxing match against Zarini, and Zarini doesn't have enough healing behind him to make sure he can stay on this point the way that he wants to as Inara.
It's ready to go. It's going to be met by the Whirlwind Immortal combination, defensive for days here. Kamiker will let loose the Hexafire from the high ground, but Perdot manages to silently take him out. Blazing Hussars have already captured the objective. Anything past this point in this fight is inconsequential to the greater outcome of this game. But regardless of that, it is still going to be cleaned up by Blazing Hussars.
And doing exactly what they want. And again, they're finding Inara kind of left on her lonesome. And this is going to be the effects of having Cauterize 1, Cauterize 2 this time around, getting into your Caught 3s, being able to shut down that healing. And they don't even have a Caught 3. Like, that Inara healing shutdown was only with these Cauterize 2 they have online. And that is kind of bad news for Zerini. It's only going to get worse from here.
Ninu manages to get the first cauterized 3 of the game online, but as Blazing Hussars start to die here, because they did capture that payload, they will get that little credit bump, and I believe they will be able to hit some mid-round buys and cap off their offensive items here to the level 3 mark. But Blazing Hussars, when Ninu's not getting that first pick, they're looking very, very strong, and it is going to be finished almost across the board in the level 3 cots.
I mean, it's...
So now we get to see the real impact of what you were talking about.
Zerini
Gotta watch your step
behind a wall with his extra healing and damage reduction, still barely getting any health coming down from the back line. Now he's going to be able to get a kill. He's at least putting himself in a good position, but Inara is one of those, like, very... I want to say, like, she rides a thin line, right? On one side of the line, she will not die, ever. You just cannot kill her.
When played properly, yeah.
On the other side of that line, you make one mistake, and her health bar, that 5,000, feels like 2,000.
Yeah, I got it. That's definitely a cap. We always say how tanky and how good Inara is. Well, that's because these players are who they are, right? If I get in there, I suck at Inara. I'll be straight up with y'all. I don't get it. The cooldown juggling, to me, it's just not really my style of thing. But those that can do it well and manage her uptime and how tanky she is, and obviously knowing your support helps a lot, like knowing who you've got behind you, it kind of makes or breaks Inara as well. And maybe that's what I can blame it on, right? My support really just sucks, so it's just clearly not my fault. I don't know what I'm doing. I couldn't do it any better. But Inara can be played poorly, and she can, you know, crumble rather quickly. All of her defensiveness and all of her tankiness is wrapped up in that kit. How well do you hide behind the wall? How well can you use your Earthen Guard in between? That type of stuff is going to be incredibly important.
And as of now, like, Zerini, I think, has been riding that line. Like, there are some moments where he feels like the undying Inara we know, and then there are moments where it feels like he's hitting that just impossibly weak threshold that you wouldn't expect to see. Nice heals coming down from the top from Andrew Doodle. And this is the good setup, and you're not looking in the right direction. He has an Evil Mojo, but he doesn't even think he needs it yet.
Inara has to drop down to the low ground here. Immortal comes out. Blazing Hussars are going for this. They want to get this conversion, but they're getting ripped apart. The second their ultimates expire, the Hexafire, the Whirlwind, the Immortal, all that stuff could have been used, but they're only going to elect to pop the Immortal and the Whirlwind before they end up falling apart on this defense. A couple of things used defensively by Sour Team as well, but again, reminding you all that I do definitely feel as though Blazing Hussars have the stronger suite of ultimates, so even though they used a couple there and Sour Team used a couple, they're still in a good spot to fight in the next round.
And this is the point at 2-2 in a game where these ults, how you use them, how you win this next point is probably the most important you've had to deal with. And I think Zerini running a very standard overall loadout for Inara. Stone Bulwark, Geomancer are probably the two cards that you will always have, or should always have, at level 5. And then it's usually flavor after that. Steadfast is definitely necessary in there. Insurmountable as well as Plateau can be interchanged with other things. Just really depends on how exactly you want to deal with them. But Plateau is an interesting one because that wall's just up half a second longer. It's just a half second more damage that you don't take.
There it is, stunned out over the top, but Doodle's not going to be followed up on. Kamiker, however, gets the entire Hexafire channeled into Inara, and that's going to be good for a kill. Countered out from the high ground, doesn't matter. Kamiker finds 3, Doodle finds another, and Blazing Hussars off to a roaring start, but don't have a ton of capture objective yet to show for it. They do have a nice little zone going here. Everyone's going to have to walk the old-fashioned way up to this point.
Well,
still mounted. Don't get picked here.
Is still going to be able to run around the side. He's going to be able to make it. He can touch down at least for overtime, if not just to get back into the fight. So he's set, and now his team's going to be able to aggress again. But they have to win another fight just like that. And goes up to the high ground. That's what I wanted to see.
Uh-oh. It's just such a bad feeling when you get your counter completely outplayed. Now, he gets the heal, though. Doesn't matter. He's going to get exploded on the balcony once more. And again, it comes down to the ultimates there. Blazing Hussars, they pop the Hexafire. They get so much value, but they win that whole fight. Kamiker basically gets it done with 1, and then Blazing Hussars still have Evil Mojo to sit on. Sour Team, they do it. They get back. They're ready to contest. They're ready to have overtime. Evil Mojo crashes into the point, and Nara gets turned into a chicken and slain extremely quickly. Frustrating moments, I'm sure, for Sour Team to have to deal with.
Well, now if you're Sour Team, you have to change up the way you're playing this game because you will absolutely lose this game if they keep getting picks like this. And if you are Zerini, you know, you're standing way too far forward. The team's not grouped up the way they have been in the last couple of games. Sour Team, it seems like a completely different style of play for them.
That was pretty funny. Leon could slip through that little crack in the wall, and Ruckus got stuck just kind of jumping there as his big fat mech couldn't get through. 150 now on the clock. Graffi's sure to fall here, and he does. Ninu and Perdo. Ninu, quick on the trigger there, doesn't connect. His target dies before he gets the full connection there, so he maintains 30% on his ultimate charge. But, not the, most necessary spite of all time there from Ninu. And you can maybe see that Sour Team are starting to feel the pressure a little bit. They do not want to lose this game. They are on set point. If they can grab this win here on Stone Keep, Doodle in some trouble now. As his Cauterize will wear off, he'll throw his potion down. He'll be all gravy, baby.
And I like that Sour Team recognized that the best way to, the only way to stay in this game, right, is to get the defense. You have to be able to push them back right here, and you have to be able to take advantage of the way Blazing Hussars are playing. You have to find that mistake. You have to find that misstep and burn them down because of it. Unfortunately, they haven't done that at the beginning of the round. Ninu had that one surprise at the very, very beginning of the game and has been unable to replicate that kind of pick, and that is going to be what can make or break these rounds. And as of right now, he's kind of locked in the corner.
Yeah, Ninu definitely struggling there. So many front lines. This is a mess. And this is the type of fight that Grover and Pip are going to succeed on, just because everyone's going to get this big splash AoE sustain. Ninu shuts down Doodle with a spike, but he's got a whole lot more work to do if he wants to bring this fight back all on his own now. Just his support, trying to keep him up and sustained, but Blazing Hussars so big, so healthy here. They're just going to continue to truck on through. They have 5 ultimates available as well, Gormizer. The second they see some blood in the water, I expect them to strike.
10 seconds left, all 5 ults like you just said, and it's going to be Ninu dropping behind. If he can get this kill, that could make the big difference. Just get rid of Hexafire, but it's not going to confirm all the way. Counter's going to come up, but he's forced to retreat. This is not going the way of Sour Team as of right now. Overtime starting ticking. Blazing Hussars are in the driver's seat.
Oh, that Dread Serpent may have just turned the tide. Kamikaze wanted to get in. He wanted a Hexafire here. This Dome Shield up and available right now. He's taking a ton of return fire, and again, it looks like the defense is going to hold strong. Sour Team know that the storm is coming. They batten down the hatches. They throw out the Dread Serpent to buy them a couple of seconds. They invest in Hurricane Shutters, and they weather it all the same. Great stuff there from Sour Team. Costs them a lot of ultimates, but they maintain their spite, and they maintain Seismic Crash, which are pretty big, important ones for them.
The beginning of this round, in my eyes, has one job for Sour Team. You have to kill Pip before he can get a kill with Evil Mojo. Or you have to make sure that that Evil Mojo gets wasted. If he is able to kill off Zarini, if he can kill off Zarini and Shippa,
I think they're
then they're going to cause a little bit more trouble.
We're having trouble here navigating the old waters with this Evil Mojo. And that's the strength of Evil Mojo right there, is like, that's everyone investing it, because there's no other real CC. There's a crippling throw, but other than that, there's no real CC available for this Blazing Hussars lineup. Resilience has been picked up, so you can't get these free picks from Evil Mojo. If it's coordinated enough, Gore, it's still 2 seconds. You still will get that kill, but it can't be done all by Andrew this time. He's going to need help. Ninu, nice plays there. Fancy footwork to get himself onto the high ground. Whirls through Kamikaze to make it a 1-for-1 trade.
Doing whatever they can. There's going to be the Evil Mojo, but it's not onto the Inara. It's onto the Barrack, and he pops right on out, and there's a Seismic Crash to stun him as well. The damage is good, and the percentage is better. That's 81% now for Sour Team.
You're right. That's the big storyline here. I mean, though this fight has been kind of dragging out, Sour Team has been fighting from the objective this entire time. Graffi's comes in. He takes down the support. Whirlwind's going to patch everyone's wounds on the side of Blazing Hussars. Gormizer, this might be the turnaround play that the Hussars needed.
Doing whatever they can. Burn Zarini first, but they're focusing on the Barrack. They don't get either of the kills so far, and Zarini takes down Toot in the process.
It's just such a big pick. They lost their Maldamba early in this fight. There's no heals, there's no sustain. All of this damage is sticking 100% of the time. They're trying to take down Grover, but Ninu can't get to the backline. Another Dread Serpent veers away Ruckus. That's going to be good for 1. Overtime again started from Sour Team. The early capture point percentage is now starting to pay dividends, because everyone from Blazing Hussars is forced to stay on or near the objective.
Doing whatever they can. Toot diving back onto the point. Gets rid of Ninu, but does go down. That's 3 clean kills for Sour Team.
Shippa gets 2 more. There it is. The final bell has tolled. That is it. Shippa picks up a triple kill. Honestly, Shippa on Barrack, that's my MVP for the set. I thought he was incredible all 3 games. This might be the only time I ever say this in my life, but he certainly changed the game. And that initial capture point, right? Getting that to 99, just forcing Blazing Hussars to have to take that point fight on the actual physical point. forcing Leon to come down and touch. It made it a mess, and that's not the way you want to be forced to take a fight.
And being able to control that objective, there's actually a point very early on that you see a spike come up behind, kill off Ruckus. Like,
that was sick.
It's just the way they maneuvered that last engagement was perfect from Sour Team.
I loved it. Awesome stuff all across the board. That was an incredible game. Best one of the set, easy, I think, hands down. Let's get it back to the desk and keep this one moving.
So that'll do it for set number 2 here today, and for EU. And Sour Team leaving a bit of a sour taste in the mouth of the Blazing Hussars. They do fight back a little bit. You see what I did there?
I see what
That's
you
good.
did
I'm
there.
starting to get a little more comfortable, make some puns.
There you go.
Getting up here on the desk. But you see 4-3.
Yeah.
So Blazing Hussars does find their footing a little bit, able to fight back.
Yeah.
But still fall short. 3 maps to 0.
It was just such a good showcase from Sour Team that there really wasn't any way Blazing Hussars were going to overcome it. No matter what they drafted, Sour Team were just on one today, and I appreciate that. But look at how many members are over 100,000 damage. Everyone but the support on Sour Team. I mean, that's incredible, and that's incredible coordination. That's incredible showcase of how strong they are. And I got to give credit where credit's due as well. Jopi has just filled in so well for this squad. All these little things, that Sheepa staying alive, all of that is because Jopi is helping him to do so. And he's doing it against what could be an emotional moment. I mentioned that this is 3/5 of Virtus Pro, but Surretz used to be one of the other 4 members on Virtus Pro, and then you add Elvenpath, that's the whole team. So versing the guy who used to play with Sheepa and Perdo, having to prove yourself in a tough battleground, Jopi did really, really well.
And Sheepa, and we see here, and Nick touched on this before coming back out to us, but Sheepa played so well here in this 3rd map. The dome shields, it was interesting. We almost questioned it. One of the dome shields went down. We were like, that's kind of a weird spot to put it down. Maybe delayed a little bit, and then it ended up working out. It bought his team enough time to get in, push the payload through, and get them a point. So Sheepa there in game number 3 doing a great job.
I mean, simple, you couldn't see it for the college-educated simple minds that we are here. It's like, this is an Einstein-level kind of just Mensa thought process that Sheepa's going through. It's just, you can't blame it. You can't get there. He's just on another level.
You can't, and Sheepa, MVP of that game, but I think one name that we kept saying over and over was Ninu, and throughout this entire set, we saw Ninu, different champions, 2 or 3 different champions throughout this set, and constantly finding some way to make himself a threat to the opposite team, and doing a beautiful job here, and one of the main reasons I think Sour Team won today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, his ability to carry these games as a player that, isn't the traditional hard carry in a league. He's a very good secondary carry, but it was really more about him than it was Perdo today. And that says a lot about Perdo being willing to give up that spotlight and not have to steal it, but letting somebody like Ninu shine, it's only going to make their team better. And on the Zen, he was phenomenal. On Stone Keep, on Split Stone Score, and Stone Keep, but also the Drogos, bringing that mix-up in on Jaguar Falls. Not a lot of people who can go from Blaster to Zen to Cassie and back to another Blaster, and he can do that.
And this Drogos pick as well, paying off in dividends. Arguably, his worst game of the set was still one of the best performances that we've seen today. And Ninu just showing how fluid he is and how hard it is to play against someone like that. And as you said, I mean, Perdo, sort of takes that spotlight from time to time. But when you have Ninu, who's able to go on so many different champions, that's going to be a hard thing to really identify and zone in on.
Yeah, no, it's when one player is the only thing to worry about where you get in trouble as a team in Paladins. If you have 2 players who are firing on both cylinders, you just have no chance, really. And that's what Sour Team proved today. EU's been so much fun in the PML.
EU has been great, and those 2 sets are our EU games for the day as we see the updated standings here. Sour Team taking the top spot there with a clean 3-0 sweep over the Hussars. Confiesta and All Business wrapping up spots 2 and 3 with a 3-1 map split there in game number 2. So Sour Team, Confiesta snagging their games today. Good jobs from both of them.
Yeah, and maps, at a certain point, if things get tied up or stay tied up, will be a differentiator. They will be a tiebreaker, and so this is something to consider. The harder you beat a team, the more secure you are in your victories. The importance carries weight into the big money tournaments towards the middle of the year.
And if you are the Hussars here, what do you do looking in retrospect, looking into this next week? How do you prepare for what you're going into? I mean, you faced a very tough matchup. You have to understand that that's one of the better teams that you just faced.
Right.
Just practice, getting a little bit more mesh going between them, you think?
It's a time thing, but it's also you need to study this tape. You need to see what went wrong. I mean, there are things that happen where you just don't hit your shots, but the things that need to not happen are where you're getting caught off guard by pretty much a similar champion pool. If the Zen is that dominant, if it works on Ninu, it'll work on another player of the caliber of Clown Fiesta.
Sure. So that is going to do it for our EU teams here in the minor league. Up next, we do have the NA game starting. We're going to have Ferocity versus Zenith coming out of the break, so stick around.
The Paladins Minor League, brought to you by Skillshot.